am now convinced that it was the practice of radical acceptance every moment that will transform you. I don't have the slightest doubt. It would transform everyone. But it has to be a regular practice. And radical acceptance doesn't mean you don't try to change things, because you only have to radically accept the moment that you're in and the past. But you can try to change the next moment. You can't change anything if you don't accept it, because if you don't accept it, you'll try to change something else that you think is reality. So radical acceptance is simply the radical acceptance that reality is what it is. And if you want to change it, then you work on changing it, which is perfectly legitimate also. But I think it's hard to change something if you don't accept it in the first place.
I think sometimes we choose to ignore reality, and that's just because it's easier to live with this version of life that we make in our heads. But radical acceptance is about accepting what is and accepting what was. This idea of radical acceptance, or let me even say practicing radical acceptance, it sounds really promising when you hear people talk about it, when you think about it. But personally, for me, I know it's something that's hard to wrap my head around sometimes. I know you might listen to this video and think that radical acceptance is about accepting what your life is, or just being well, that is my life, it is what it is type of energy, and being complacent about it. But it's far from that. It's not about suppressing what you want and ignoring that feeling of going for what you want. It's about accepting that you don't have what you want right now and being okay with it, because it's not the end of the world. It's also about knowing that if you want to make changes, or if you want to change that choice is up for grabs. When complacency enters the chat, you're basically making or choosing or accepting the fate of your future based on your current or your present reality, and that doesn't really help. But radical acceptance teaches us to accept our now and our past, and if we want, improve or make decisions that would improve our future. When you think about it, you can't really change what you do not accept. I feel like you should be able to say, I am not happy with the way I've been eating lately or how I eat. I'm not loving my body right now. I'm not happy that I'm in debt. I'm not happy at my work. And I feel like you should be able to say all those things and not condemn yourself. I think you should be able to say it from a place of hey, I see you, I care about myself, and I don't love this. Because I feel like when you start to condemn yourself, negative self-talk starts happening, and that just leads to self-sabotage, and that doesn't really help you grow. But without the condemnation and just being you and just being, okay, this is what it is, there is room for genuine growth. I listened to Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins a while ago, and I actually made a whole digital diet episode about that book. But I didn't really put it out there because I realized that I didn't really align with everything he said, and I just didn't want to put it out there for the sake of putting out an episode. He's a little intense for me, and I get it. People need that sort of intensity, but a few things stuck out to me, and one for sure is the idea of personal accountability. I think that practicing or having personal accountability is usually a result of practicing radical acceptance. And to make any real change and growth, being 100% with yourself is super important. I stumbled on that video as I was prepping for this episode, and I really love how she spoke about how practicing radical acceptance is about practicing letting go. It's about accepting your reality, accepting what is, and letting go of everything else. This is particularly hard for me to do again. Because I feel like personally I have this idea or like a laid out plan in my head about how things should look like or how things or people should behave. And then when my reality doesn't match up, I kind of lose my shit and I'm like confused. And to be honest, I don't know who else can relate with me on this, but it keeps me stuck in a loop of trying to change or trying to fix the situation, trying to fix the thing, trying to fix the person. And it doesn't really let me move forward. It's like I think that if I can just do this or I can just do that, I can magically erase or reverse everything that has happened. And I know for a fact that that's not how life is. Like, there's no time machine to go back. But I let myself indulge in that fantasy way too often. This idea of radical acceptance lets us thrive in life because it allows us to let go of preconceived notions or preconceptions that we might have towards a particular thing, a particular person, a particular activity, and just accept and be in the moment of what is right now. And I feel like it also helps us embrace our lives more. It also helps us grow as people because there's no boundary, there's no limit on who you could be. A lot of people say that the only thing stopping you is your head and because your mind really knows all your insecurities and all of that and tries to project onto you. But radical acceptance teaches you to just accept what is right now and just let go of all those insecurities or all those preconceived notions in your head about what this could be or what this is or what this looks like or what this could mean to somebody else, and just lets you receive what is happening to you right now and just be in the moment of it all. I also think it also helps us love a bit more on the people in our lives or our loved ones and just accept them for who they are. People say when you love someone, you accept them for who they are, the good and the bad, and you make the ultimate decision to stick with them or not to, if that's your choice. But I think the same applies to us as individuals. When you love yourself, you accept everything about yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you can either choose to be grateful and content or make room for improvement if you want. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I'm glad you're here. And I know I say this every time, I say it in every video, but I really am glad you're here. I'm Itunu if you're new here, and I make videos about basically anything I fancy. But if you like what you see, make sure to subscribe and like this video for more videos like this. Thank you.